Good afternoon and cheers. Welcome back to the channel. Just a guy on my lunch break. My name is Corey and I will be your host today. I'm going to jump right into things. Two things I'm going to discuss in this video today. First thing being what kind of time scale and timetable that you're looking at to become physically dependent upon Kratom. Okay, now what do I mean by physically dependent? Physically dependent basically means how long and how often consecutively do you have to take Kratom before you will experience negative side effects, aka withdrawals, when you abruptly stop. Okay, as you know, if you've never tried Kratom before, you go to the store, you buy yourself some Kratom, you dose on it for a couple of days, and then you run out and you're like, well, yeah, you know, it's not really my thing, not really good for me. It was a fun ride. I don't think I'm going to get any more. You won't have any withdrawals because you've only been, taking it for a couple of days. Your body hasn't had time to develop dependence. As you know, on the contrary, if you take something like Kratom for an extended period of time, there is a point where there's kind of a tipping point where once you cross over that tipping point, you will experience some physical withdrawals when you go to stop taking it. So I'm going to talk about what that timetable looks like. And I'm also, well, one reason I'm going to talk about that is because it has some relativity in my own journey at the moment. So I'm going to discuss that and tie that in a nice little bow for you as well. And I'm also going to discuss one more time TIANEPTINE. I'm still not 1000% sure that I'm saying that correctly, but everyone seems to know what I'm talking about when I say it. So TIANEPTINE, TIANEPTINE is how you spell it. And I think there are different products that contain this. There are certain states where this is illegal, but it has not been, mandated, or basically the FDA has not gotten their hands on this yet. So it is allowed to be sold in the US and in most states as like a dietary supplement, what they call it, which I've always found that kind of funny. Kratom is considered a supplement. I mean, it's a drug. Slap a label on it that says supplement. Hey, we're all good, man. It's just a supplement, but yet there's people out here, man, let me get some more of that Kratom. Man, that's a good supplement, bro. I gotta get some more of that supplement. I mean, I'm just saying, it is what it is. Maybe a little dramatic there, but either way. So I'm going to talk about those two things. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, I would appreciate it if you would do so. All of this content is free. I have almost 200 videos up to this day. Granted, I'm kind of guilty of sometimes getting on here and just blabbing. I am selling to you guys my personality. Basically, I think I'm an easygoing guy. I'm easy to talk to. I am a cheerleader for people. I encourage people to live their best lives in any way imaginable, and I'm doing the same in my own life. But that journey in my life does not come without struggles and without challenges. I'm just like anybody else. I have struggles, I have challenges. I talk about how I overcome those on this channel. And in addition, one of my challenges absolutely been substance abuse throughout the years, and that's a lot of what I discuss on here, specifically Kratom, but I do dabble in a few other things here or there. This is not medical advice. I'm not a medical personnel. I do have a college degree in human development, so I do have some skills in the area of psychology and things like that, healthy living, but I'm not pretending to be anyone's doctor out here. This is all just an opinion. And as you know, I discuss it on here all the time. An opinion is like, what? That's right, a butthole. And everybody has one. So I'm no different. I have an opinion and a butthole, actually. But I'm giving you my opinion on here. butthole's mine. Anyway, so subscribe to the channel if you would. I would really appreciate it, and I'm gonna get started. All right, so a lot of you guys have been following my journey the whole time. So I was on Kratom, took Kratom for about 4 years or so. I started taking the extracts about a couple of years back. Got about a year into that and was like, damn, this shit is not only hurting me financially, but my tolerance is through the roof. This has just gotten way out of control. Kratom is no longer a benefit to me. It's become one of those things where, you know, the way I'm taking it, it's more so just making me tired. I wasn't even really getting the euphoria anymore. But I was at a point with my tolerance where if I backed off or stopped taking it, woo, those withdrawals were a son of a bitch. So I was stuck in this kind of between this rock and a hard place where it's not really doing a lot for me other than emptying out my bank account. But at the same time, it's not as easy as just, well, you know what, I think I'm going to stop. I'm going broke, and I'm tired all the time. I think I'm going to stop. Well, as you know, if you have experience with Kratom or some other opiate-like substance, it's not that simple. You go to just stop, and there's a plethora of other negative side effects, aka withdrawals, that come along with that. So I quit a few times. For the most part, I'm one of those people that's pretty responsible with my use of Kratom. I quit for precisely 27 days at one point. I went out of town to go to a UFC in Boston, you know, a 3-4 day road trip. And I made the decision at that point to use some Kratom during that time. I don't really regret it. You know, it was fun. I had a good time. I definitely think it helped me to have a better time. But with that said, some people thought I shouldn't have done that. Some people were like, you're a grown man, do whatever the hell you want to do. And I did do what I wanted to do. I ended up using some Kratom. So did that. I got back from that UFC event, and then for several weeks I was doing this thing where I would use it some on the weekends, but then I wasn't using it during the week, and I was trying to, you know, make sure that I stayed at a place with it where my tolerance didn't get too high and that I wasn't going to have the withdrawals. So I did that for a few weeks, got really bored with that. Was like, you know what, I'm just gonna stop altogether and just, you know, give it a break, see what's gonna happen. And then I quit again, this time for right around 40 days, maybe a couple more. I lost count that time, but I actually stayed completely off of it for right around 40 days or so. And I went back on it, decided to start taking again. Like, well, this shit is boring. You know, I don't have the motivation, I don't have the drive. As long as I can use it somewhat responsibly, I'm just gonna go back on it, start taking it. So that was about 3 weeks or so ago, and so now I've been taking it again for roughly right around 3 weeks. Now, one of the things that I've done during this time is I've broken my own rule. And what I mean by that is I've always preached to people on here about, you know, take the capsules. For one thing, take the capsules because you know and can be sure about how much you're taking, okay, when you're taking the capsules. Vacations tend to be a trigger for me because this most recent time when I went the 40 days without it, when I started taking it again was when my wife and I went on a trip to Bryson City, the mountains here in North Carolina. Stayed in this beautiful cabin sitting on top of the Smoky Mountains, and my thing was, what could make this situation that much better? Of course, ding, 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 a little bit of Kratom would be nice, you know. So that's when I kind of started taking it again, and then from that moment, which was about 3 weeks ago now, I've been taking it every day since then. Where I broke my own rule is when I went out of town, I bought some powder. So I wasn't consuming the capsules, I was using the powder. I don't have a scale, I don't really weigh it out, I just kind of toss it in there with some orange juice. The orange juice, the vitamin C in it and the citric acid in it is a potentiator, which means it kind of helps to increase the effects of whatever you're taking. And I've also not been really sticking to the 3 times a day. That's something I preach on here a lot about, and that's something I always kind of did. And when I found myself using it in the morning, once in the afternoon, and then once in the evenings, you know, that I always found that I, for the most part, had good experiences with Kratom. I guess because, especially when I was taking the capsules, I guess it's because I was around, you know, 8 to 10 grams, usually not getting any higher than 11, 12 grams per day. I think when you're around that sort of amount, you tend to have a much better experience with it. You don't get all the tiredness. You can still experience the positive effects of it, like the energizing components and the euphoria, stuff like that. I think the issue comes when people crest that amount and they start not weighing their powder, and then they just start taking these scoops of it, you know, multiple times throughout the day. I think that's when it really becomes a problem for people, because then that increases your tolerance. You know, people get up to where they're taking 30, 40, 50 grams of powder a day, which is pretty substantial, you know. And I think the human body is just not, I mean, let's be honest, it's probably not designed to take any sort of plant material ground up, you know, something like Kratom. But I think in small amounts, I don't think and if you're living healthily otherwise, in terms of a good diet, drinking a ton of water, exercise, stuff like that, I think you can find kind of a good balance with Kratom where it's not really that bad for you. I mean, that's just my opinion. That's if you're being moderate with it, if you're able to maintain some moderation. Okay, so I've kind of broken my own rules. Ever since I got back from the mountains, I've just been taking the powder, and I've also not been too strict about the only 3 times per day. So what I've noticed is the last couple of nights, I've, you know, somewhere around, you know, because I'll get home in the evenings, I'll do like my exercise or whatever, and then I'll take my last evening dose of the Kratom. It really varies the time that I would take it. It can be anywhere from 5:30 to 7 o'clock, somewhere around in there, and it varies just depending on what I've got going on. I don't exercise every night when I get home. I usually exercise a night, then I'll take off a night, then I'll exercise, then I'll take off, just to kind of help out with the baby and stuff like that, so my wife can get dinner made, and, you know, just being the responsible husband. So it kind of varies when I'll take it, but I'll take it, and then I'll notice as the hours start to pass throughout the night, because I'm going the longest stretch throughout the day without actually taking any. The last couple of mornings in a row, I've started kind of waking up and teetering on wakefulness around 4, 4:30, 5, something like that. And I have noticed the dreaded withdrawals. And the way they kind of start out is your sleep is one of those where for one thing, my dreams get super weird. And you're in that state of consciousness where you're half asleep, but you're half not. You feel like you're sleeping on pins and needles, like you're kind of sleeping, but you're even aware that you could just wake up any second. And what it is your body starting to become dependent upon that Kratom is what it is. And for me, it's been right under 3 weeks. It's Thursday now, and it was Friday of 3 weeks ago that I went to the mountains and I started to take the Kratom again on a regular basis. Okay, before that, I had been, you know, at least 40 days off of it. So at that time, obviously, I was not having any physical withdrawal symptoms at all, right? Those usually go away within a week or two, and likewise they did for me. So when I was on that 40-day stretch without them, I wasn't, towards the end of that, obviously I wasn't having any physical withdrawals. Okay, I've been back on it for right under 3 weeks now, and I can tell you, at least from my experience, in that right under 3 week mark, I'm like Donald Trump, under that 3 week mark. Doing the Donald Trump fingers over here. That's what I call them, the Donald Trump 3 week mark. But anyway, stay on task, dude. Stay on task. So at about 3 weeks for me, I am starting to notice some of the physical withdrawals. Okay, I'm not saying that I'm necessarily going to stop, because I've made the decision, at least for now, that I'm going to continue taking. And I know what that means. I know what that means for me. I understand that that's going to put me in this situation where when I go to stop again, it's going to be a struggle. I'm going to have to do a taper, or I'm going to have to do a cold turkey. And either way, it's uncomfortable. Okay? Cold turkey is definitely worse, but either way you go about it, most of you out there know this as well. Quitting Kratom is a challenge. I'm aware of that. You know, and it's one of those things, guys, I have no doubt in my mind that the train ride has to end at some point. And I know that probably eventually in my life, I don't know when that exactly that will be, but just like any other substance I've ever tried and gotten hooked on, I have always put it down eventually. Kratom, I know, will be the same. I just don't know when that's going to be. And right now, it's really serving a purpose in my life, so I'm getting good benefits from it, and I'm going to stick with it, okay? But the 3 weeks, the reason I'm telling this story is because I like to help people, okay? That's why I started this channel, is to help people. And for those of you out there who do not have a lot of experience with Kratom, let's say you don't have any experience with opiates at all. You never took heroin, you never took pain pills, you never took anything that was like an opiate. And then all of a sudden you hear, but you know, either by word of mouth, a friend or a family member tells you about, you know, Kratom, you hear about this Kratom, or you see it when you're in the vape shop, or you walk by a vape shop and you see the big glowing neon sign in the window that says Kratom, you know, what's Kratom, you know, and then somebody tells you it relaxes you or whatever, so you go get yourself some Kratom. A lot of times this will happen to people and they're none the wiser. They don't know what they're taking. I wouldn't say in most cases that's the case. A lot of times people know what they're getting into. I knew what I was getting into, but obviously there's a lot of people that don't. And I'm talking to you guys out there. If you are just starting with something like Kratom, there is a window of time where you can take it regularly on a regular basis and not have physical withdrawals from that. But right around that 2 to 3 week mark, which is where I'm at now, you will start to experience some withdrawals, physical withdrawals, meaning when you either cut down your dose significantly or you just go to try to stop taking it at some point, you will struggle with like some insomnia, you know, having trouble falling asleep, things like restless legs, which are involuntary movements in your legs. You'll start to struggle with these things. Low energy during the day, if you know, diarrhea is a common problem for people. So there's a plethora of, you know, depression. There's a plethora of side effects that can take place. And I just don't want you guys out there who are new to Kratom to be blindsided by that. Okay? So if you just started taking it, you're just messing around with it, and you have this thought in your head like, I wonder how long, you know, how long this ride can last before I'm going to need to stop, or else I'll become dependent. It's about 2 or 3 weeks. Okay? That obviously that's going to vary from person to person to person. It depends on age. It depends on metabolism. From what I understand, it even depends on whether you're a male or a female, because males have a higher metabolism. If you're a sedentary person, you stay dehydrated all the time, you don't eat well, you eat processed foods, that type, you're probably gonna get hooked quicker, and the withdrawals are probably gonna be worse for you because your body's not cycling through the Kratom as efficiently as someone who has a high metabolism, exercises, drinks tons of water, and is an otherwise healthy person. Does that make sense? Healthier people, their bodies metabolize and just process more efficiently than sedentary, unhealthy people. It's just a fact. It's just a scientific fact, which is the reason that I preach about exercise and stuff on here all the time. I'm going to get in about the last 10 minutes of this video talking about TIANEPTINE, as I said. So I did a video on this a couple of months back. I just got another comment today, in fact, today on that same video. And this person has kind of a question about the TIANEPTINE. This is at Willie-LQ9RT. Hi, I bought this yesterday because I'm used to using Kratom, and the clerk told me that a lot of people like it. I opened one pill and took it yesterday, and one and then a half today. I put a small amount in with my kratom powder, and I currently feel great. Should I stop immediately? Question mark, exclamation point. The product is called TD Red. So I've not heard of the specific product, but this comment that Willie is making, first off, Willie, thank you for the comment. This comment he's making is on a video that I titled, TIANEPTINE is in the title, because I've had other people mention this stuff, okay? And so I'm going to tell you, well, first off, let me say, I don't personally have any experience with the TIANEPTINE. I've not tried it. First time I heard about it was a couple of months ago via this channel. Somebody left it in the comments, and I was curious about it, so I went and looked it up. But I've not taken any. That's by design. I've purposely not taken any, because after researching it a little bit, it became clear to me that just like kratom, just like any other opiate-like substance, it's addictive, okay? And I'm not the guy that needs to be messing around with new addictive opiate-like substances. Not a smart move for a guy like me, all right? And I know that. At 47 years old, that is one thing I've learned, and here I am still taking kratom, and obviously you guys have seen the, my struggle with that, with the kratom itself. But anyway, I looked up some more information about the TIANEPTINE, because he's asking, should I stop taking this immediately? Because obviously some of the things he was hearing in the video I made was kind of sending up some red flags for him. And I don't want to tell anybody, hey, stop doing that. Everybody makes their own adult choices on here, but I just want to share some factual information, then just kind of give my opinion to Willie, and just, he can take it from there. He's an adult, TIANEPTINE is not regulated by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Thus, it is legal to sell as a dietary supplement. See, there's that dietary supplement again. Drug. Dietary supplement, aka drug, right? And it can make the claims it can with little to no consequences, but some states are changing that. The results showed that TIANEPTINE had profound pain-relieving properties that lasted well after the drug was no longer present, which suggested it was the drug affected the expression of genes that were critical for the maintenance of pain symptoms. Commonly sold as a dietary supplement under the name Pegasus, Tiana, Zaza Red, I've heard Zaza before. TIANEPTINE can mimic the effects, listen closely, can mimic the effects of opioids, and is available at gas stations, convenience stores, and online. So I'm in North Carolina. To my knowledge, I've not seen this. I've not, and I do go in, I do buy my kratom from like a local head shop. I don't do it online or anything. I've not seen TIANEPTINE. With that said, I've not looked for it, and I've not asked for it. I'm afraid to ask for it. Because I'm afraid if I ask for it and they say, oh yeah, we got this stuff in, you want to try one? I'm afraid I'm going to say, yeah, sure, why not? And then I'm going to go take it, and then in a month, I'm going to be like, need some more of that TIANEPTINE. That scares the hell out of me. I have enough problems, and I have enough going on. I don't want to add another addictive substance into my regimen here, Kratom's bad enough, and I think kratom can be somewhat benign if taken responsibly. I'm familiar with kratom. I know I'll want to quit one day. I don't see myself taking kratom till the day I die, but right now, I'm getting a lot of benefit from it. I'm used to it, accustomed to it. I have a good kind of healthy balance with it as far as diet, exercise, all this other stuff. I don't want to add something else in at this point, so I've purposely been trying to stay away from it. So point I'm making is I don't know if it is legal in my state, because it does outline some states here where it's illegal, and my state is not mentioned. So I'm assuming that it is legal to obtain here in North Carolina, but I'm just saying I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in gas stations. I haven't seen it in head shops. Again, I've not asked for it either, or specifically looked for it. But apparently this stuff's hella easy to get. And I've had other people tell me in the comments they've gotten it at gas stations where they live. They've gotten it at head shops, yada, yada, yada. So obviously it's pretty readily available in a lot of states, and it also can be purchased online. Says here, taking high doses of tianeptine can cause drowsiness, confusion, difficulty breathing, coma, and death. Damn. I mean, that's like one of those prescription commercials that's trying to encourage you to take the prescription, and then they're mentioning stuff like coma and death in the commercial as a side effect. Like, coma and death as a side effect? Who the fuck wants to take that, well, it does say taken in high doses, so maybe that risk lessens, with a lower dose. I can only assume it does, but just kind of giving you some ideas here and giving you some ammunition so that, Willie, you can make your own informed decision on it, because apparently he currently has some, or at least did have some, and it has already taken some. Tianeptine is banned in several other states, including Alabama, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Mississippi, Ohio, and Tennessee. So if you're in any of those states I just mentioned, you may not be seeing it like on the shelves in there. And I think some people are ordering it online as well. But anyway, tianeptine is being marketed as a dietary supplement to help with energy and focus, but it also may just take your life. Damn, that's harsh. This drug is associated with side effects similar to those experienced with heroin and opioid abuse. So as you can see here, there's a lot of parallels between the tianeptine, opioids. They even put it in the same sentence with stuff like heroin and opioid, and obviously there's going to be some differences. It's probably not as, I would imagine, not as strong, not as intense maybe, but it also, we face this problem with Kratom. If it's unregulated, unfortunately it's one of those things where people can buy as much as they want of it and use as much as they want. So I think that's where stuff like this can really, really get tricky for people, because when a doctor prescribes you something, they're only going to prescribe you so much, and you're only supposed to take, at least there's a blueprint, right? Stuff like this, there tends to not really be much of a blueprint, and people are able to buy and consume as much as they want, and that's a real problem. Let's be honest, especially when the side effects are coma and death. I mean, come on, let's get real. I gotta finish this up. Common names for this drug include Zaza, Tiana, and Red Dawn. People with a history of opioid use disorder or dependence are at particular risk for using tianeptine and may experience serious side effects, which can mimic opioid toxicity and withdrawal. So, and it's also a slight treatment. It says slight effective treatment for ADHD. I got to cut this off. Listen, Willie, thanks for the comment. Everything I just read, it sounds like if you have any history with opioid abuse and you're already taking Kratom and stuff like that, I personally, I'm talking to you like you're one of my friends or you're one of my family members. That's the way I approach things on here. I would say to you, hey, probably don't need to mess with that. Probably need to leave that on the shelves. Probably need to stick with what you know for now. Don't add anything new into your situation here. And plus, that can be a dangerous cocktail, mixing two things together like that, especially if they're unregulated. We don't know a lot about what that could do to an individual, okay? So I would tell you, you should probably put that down. But anyway, I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave your own comment, and I may talk about it on my channel. You guys have a good day. Peace.